underground stuff. Today I'm going to talk about filling cracks which can appear between hardwood floor and as you see right here, these are two new pieces of hardwood floor, and it's pre-finished, whatever. And this is the tongue together kind of flooring, and when it is new, it looks like it's going to be just perfecto. They're supposed to like take a hammer to this stuff, and you can still see where this seam is right here, and manufacturing standards. Anyway, over time, and I have this sort of width board. I think these are 4-inch width white oak flooring. And over time in this particular house, as you probably know, wood expands and contracts depending on heat and humidity. So in the wintertime, you can see cracks opening up in your flooring, and in the summertime, they sort of swell closed. I had a situation where I had quite a few of these cracks visible, and it was very, I don't like it, okay? So, how do you fix this problem? One way, I guess, is you could try to sand, but again, I don't know if the board that I had was not manufactured particularly well, or the installer didn't do a great job, or what. You know, these things are supposed to be nailed down ever so often through the grooving and then slammed back in place, and if they were not nailed down properly, then they could move around a good bit. I don't know what my problem was, but anyway, I have these open spaces. It could have been that the board, in fact, these are relatively flat on the edge, but it could have been the boards have a slight round on the in between them, like this, in between them on this edge. And anyway, I have a gap that's opened up. So how do I fix it? That's what I'm going to talk about in the next portion. This is just the idea of what I'm going to deal with, and it's not a difficult job. You can certainly do it yourself. And I might take a picture of my flooring to show you what it looks like after the fact. You can see right now this one piece still doesn't want to fit down in perfectly. And this is in my hands. You can still see, in fact, right there, they just don't made up perfectly. There's, I don't know if I can show you, there's wiggle room. There is some wiggle room that will occur between these pieces, and that may be the reason the cracks open up, but it seems pretty solid right now, but it will still, you can still get some flex out of it. It's just, there is, here I got a big crack opening, if you can see that. It depends how it was put in there. And both sides, on the underside, there's quite a big crack right there, if you can see it. And on this side, it's not so bad, but it's still visible. And I assume these grooves, it could have been in fact glued to the floor if you did it, if the installer did it. These surfaces would allow gluing, but I don't think that's what happened here. Stop. Anyway, that's what I'm going to show you how to fix. If you, especially, I had an older home, well actually newer, but I only had like 2-inch wide, I think it was red oak, not white, but red oak flooring, and I never have a problem with that. You couldn't see any cracks at all. But when I have a 4-inch wide board, I mean, they're gonna move up and down. They're gonna warp slightly, moisture, humidity, whatever, and so you could have, in my case, they were very visible and very unsightly. Unsightly. It was like, what am I going to do about that? Now here I have it together pretty well, and you could see down the seam there that looks like it's all one piece. But there is flex. I can open up a crack here, or not. Okay, that's enough of this. That's showing you generally what I'm trying to deal with, and now I'll go ahead and do the next piece that shows you how to do a repair. This is the end of part 1. Okay, filling cracks in the floor. Now this is not what I showed you in a way of planking I had before, but this is another section of the house, and this is wood stuff, but it's very thin, but it also has, you see where it has cracks in it, okay? And they're unseemly. Okay, so what I use is this stuff. Goodfellow wood filler. Comes in a package like this, and it looks like this. It's that kind of color. And what I'm going to do is mix it up slightly. Hopefully I can do it here. I'm going to mix it up. It's pretty good right now. And what do? I have a plastic spatula here, and I take it and I rub over the crack like that, pushing it down into the crack. And you see it's pretty pliable. I need a little more. I'm just going to use the spatula and go over it. I can wipe off the excess here. It's a little runny. I should probably stir it up a little more. But anyway, here's another one over here, and I will do the same thing. And over there. You see, I'm just pulling it across and smushing it into the crack. Like that. And here is a real wide one. You see how much the gap is here? This probably got water on it at some time, and that's why it did that. I'm just gonna, it's like applying putty, only you're pushing it down into the crack, and you can scrape off the excess like I'm doing, and you see how it is filling up the crack. And what I've found, because I've used this a lot in other parts of the house, that it stays real well. If there's a lot of motion in the floor, then obviously it's not going to hold as well as it should. But here's a big wide crack, you see that? I'm going to put a lot down in that one. So you see what I've been doing here. I'm applying this patch over it. And you see it how it's going to mate pretty well with this particular color. And that's all you do. Now you let it dry. It will set up. And then you use a wet washcloth and a bucket of warm water, and you just clean up the excess that's on the boards. I'm going to finish this off, and then that'll be it for this demonstration of this stuff. It's the Goodfellow crack filler. When you get it, it may be dried out a little bit, but right on the side it says if you is dried out a little too much for you, you can just add some hot water. You don't have to add much. You add some hot water and stir, and it'll go right back to a good pliable consistency. So I'm going to apply this stuff, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll come back and wash off the excess, and those cracks will look 100% better than they were to start with. So you see what I'm doing? I use the spatula here, and it's called Goodfellow. I don't remember the cost, but it's not extreme, and I found it works very well. So I'm gonna stop with this for now, and you see, I didn't give you a good view of what it looked like beforehand, but there was significant cracking here, there, and everywhere. I think I pretty much covered up most of the cracks. I don't see too many others at this point looking around. Maybe over there, and I'll get that in a second. But this is how you do it, and then you take a wet washcloth with a bucket and wipe off the excess, and then you can take a soft towel and clean a little more, and if you want you can polish the whole thing and seal it up, and it looks real good. That's it for Uncle Ron's stuff on filling cracks on hardwood floor that have developed gaps or spaces.